Wake up, beautiful people. It's time to look ahead and check out some new amazing indies coming out in the month of May, and trust me, you don't want to sleep through this. But before we start, name's WolfmanDan08, and I love highlighting and talking about indie games. If you love them too, then consider subscribing, and let me take you on a ride to see some of the best upcoming games right now. Enough about me though. Let's sit back, open up Steam, and start wishlisting. MOTORSLICE from Regular Studio. A post-apocalyptic style platformer and action game, MOTORSLICE takes place in my favorite setting, megastructures. You're the hunter P, who's been sent out on missions to murder very specific machines. I've played the demo of this and I love the hell out of it. A lot of fun, the movement is smooth and swift, and just traveling around these megastructures though, that is the highlight for me because I just have a certain affinity for giant megastructures. They're always just so fun to explore, run around in, jump, avoid giant obstacles including spinning blades or gears, and just having a good time. P is equipped with a chainsaw, and that is her main weapon, and while some might say chainsaws can't be very effective against steel machinery, this game begs to prove the opposite. You'll fight giant Shadow of the Colossus style battles which often require you to climb onto the giant machine, find its weak points, break some parts of it, and then finally just deliver the killing blow. You'll fight loaders, diggers, and other machines of labor you'd find in any construction site, but times 100 in size. Again, like I said, I played the demo, I really liked it, it was a very smooth experience, and also there's a nice atmosphere with just running through an empty space, hearing the wind blow, seeing the sand aggregate in spaces, turning into piles you run over. I really like it. It's an interesting mixture between the calm and serenity of Shadow of the Colossus and the complete insane over-the-top action of Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. Bubsy 4D by Fabraz. The infamous Bubsy has a new game, and it's surprisingly good. Some parts of this game I'm not a big fan of, so I'll just get that out of the way in the beginning. I don't really like the middle-aged humor. Yeah, Bubsy is older. We don't have to keep doing that thing of like, what if video game character is older and became kind of cringe for modern audiences. Although I do like the tie. I think it looks nice. If you've played any indie platformers over the last few years, then you definitely know the name Fabraz, who's made some killer titles with the Demon Tide series. And now they've decided to take on Bubsy and make an actual quality, decent platformer involving the furry mascot. And they did a great job. I played the demo, I had a lot of fun with it. The movement is slick, there's a good moveset to play around with as you jump around trying to get a good time, trying to see how fast you can go through the levels. A lot of fun. And surprisingly, there's a good soundtrack as well. Like, it's really elevates the game a lot and makes the challenging gameplay not feel like it's just going to frustrate and annoy you over time, but you can just kind of bop along your head as you try to get those jumps in. Really interesting to see a proven indie developer tackle a series that has been mostly negative. Now I ask you, what could possibly go wrong? Blades of Fire from Mercury Steam. These are the developers I kind of hold a special place in my heart for because they made the Castlevania Lords of Shadows games. And I really like those. Feel they're a bit underrated even though they've not aged the most perfectly since I've replayed the first one, but still really good titles. So the interesting thing about Blades of Fire is that it was originally released on the Epic Store, and now it's finally coming to Steam. But we're not just getting the base game, we're getting version 2.0, which has fixed a lot of issues of the initial release, add a bunch of stuff, just overall made the game a much smoother, better, higher quality experience. So that's why I say, if you're going to release the games first on Epic Store and they come to Steam, improve them a little bit. So good on you, Mercury Steam. You're the warrior Aaron Delira, who's not just a capable fighter, but is also able to make cool-ass swords. You can create your own blade from materials and place parts on it to help create certain buffs that can really elevate your slicing style and create the perfect weapon for any job. Combat is a bit heavy, more like a Souls-like game. There's a stamina bar, you need to dodge, parry, all that jazz. But really the element I think that stands out for a lot of people is just the weapon creation and just how much variety and options you have to create a sword that you're just happy with, whether it looks cool or not, as long as it's useful. Really interesting to try this game out. It looks really cool from what I've seen of the previews, and just all the enhancements they've made for version 2.0 make this definitely a title you should keep your eye on. I'm hoping for more from Mercury's Steam, and it seems like them going their own path has allowed them to make some interesting choices that I look forward to seeing in the full game. SoulQuest by Soulblade Studio and Thomas J. Pereira. Some more beautiful pixel art to help brighten up your day, especially my side because it's a bit cloudy and rainy, so warms my very cold heart. SoulQuest is a 2D action platformer with a deep combat system where you combine magical abilities and various attacks, and if things get a little too crazy, maybe pull out an ultimate and take everyone out. Just from looking at it, you can see it looks very, very cool. There's an intricate system here, a lot of moves, a lot of abilities to master and play around with. Reminds me kind of Flynn, I forget the name of the full title, Flynn Red-Headed Hero, which was also a 2D action platform that I had a lot of fun with, but this one looks just as good. And the story, well, not the most exciting in my opinion, is still interesting as you play Elise, who basically refuses to let her husband die and is going straight for the god of death, equipped with a sword, ready to get his soul back, at any means possible. That's metal. Coffee Talk Tokyo by Chorus Worldwide Games and Toge Productions. We get another entry in the Coffee Talk series, a much beloved franchise that I think a lot of people are excited for. This time, it's set in Tokyo. You're still a barista, enjoying brewing drinks and meeting various late-night customers who also happen to be yokai. Honestly, the vibes of this game just from looking at the trailer and the images, remember, once customers come in, take their orders, make the drinks through some mini-games, and then talk to them and find out about their lives and their problems. And maybe offer up a little advice, or if they're an asshole, throw some coffee in their face, see how they like that. Maybe give me a tip next time. Sorry. Expect to enjoy some lo-fi beats, good tea, and well-written dialogue to help you enjoy this world even more. I call this kind of an escapist style game where instead of going around hacking and slashing, you're just kind of vibing out by talking to people. Really relaxing, good time. Stonemachia by Crossfall Games. So, here's a bit of a weird one, while at the same time feeling very familiar. A chess Souls-like, where you play a pawn with the power of transforming into other chess pieces. It's basically that chess comedy skit from a few years ago, but in game format.
Short again. He's made one of his knights into a unicorn, so obviously playing the long game.
The setting is a Dante Inferno-esque world where you need to traverse, all on a quest, to return to heaven, because I assume you fell from it. Although chess pieces bounce pretty good if you drop them, I'm just talking out of experience, unless they're made out of glass. Very strange concept here, but beautiful visuals and engaging combat make this one to keep an eye out for. There's also a demo if you want to try it out, see if this vibes with you a little bit. It's as difficult as most Souls-like, but if that genre is not your thing, then Stonemachia definitely won't be for you. But it's something I'm excited to try out and see how it goes. Vultures, Scavengers of Death by Team Vultures. What if Resident Evil was also a tactical RPG? No, I'm not talking about Parasite Eve. I'm talking full-on XCOM-style tactics. As Leopoldo and Amber, two Vulture operatives, you need to explore Salento Valley to extract materials in order to find a cure for the zombie virus. So already we have horror, tactical RPG, but also extraction title. You'll find a ton of weapons to pick up and use on a variety of enemies that's just waiting for you in this game. Like, I've seen some crazy designs here from zombies, giant mutant frogs, and blade men? I think that's a Resident Evil 4 reference. You can expect all the exploration of a Resident Evil title, but every door hides an encounter that might be your last, because the thing about tactical RPGs is they tend to be a bit more difficult than you'd expect. Resources are scarce and enemies never ending. You need to get in, get the material, and get out. I am really excited for this title. Again, I played the demo, and I had a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of stuff you can focus on when fighting enemies. Obviously, there's placement, there's where you are in relation to the enemy, what weapon you use, and also each character has some extra moves that they can use to help them get out of sticky situations, and it was just a blast to play, so I'm very excited for this full title. Hopefully, I get a key. Or a raise. Either way, check it out. Schrödinger's Call, Acrobatic Shirimanjako. That was very difficult to say. Schrödinger's Call is basically when you ask a girl out on a date and you just wait in a state of limbo for her to either say yes or no. Oh no, wait, that was my 20s. So the world is ending and you only have one last call to make. Once again, we have another interesting title being published by Shueisha. This is really a publisher I have been keeping my eye on now, and they just keep releasing weird games that might not always be perfect, but they always just stick out among the rest of the titles coming out. It's a visual novel with a lot of emphasis on the visual part of the game. The overall character design, it's really a style that fits the atmosphere of a world ending soon. You need to talk to various characters dealing with the inevitability of death. Now, what does that exactly mean? It is just conversations, trying to find out who they are, what they're dealing with, and seeing what you can make out of it. This is basically the video game version of Melancholia, minus the sex on the golf course that I know of. But if this is a title that sticks out to you, then maybe try something a little different this month. You might enjoy it. STARBITES by Ikina Games. Something a bit more traditional here. A cool turn-based mecha combat game where you and your companions use your mecha for flashy JRPG-style battles. Customize your mech with various parts you get from defeating enemies or find a scrap in the world, and enjoy some cool Xenosaga-style vibes with the combat and a world that feels like a mixture of shonen anime and Saturday morning cartoon. It's hard to describe, but it's kind of working for me. This is a title I'm interested in just because we need more turn-based mech combat games. I don't play a lot of JRPGs anymore, but this is a title from an indie developer that's really caught my eye. I really enjoy the visuals, the fluidity of the animation, and some of the writing I'm not too sure about, but the combat, suitably flashy, mechs look really cool. The fact that you can swap out pieces of them is just, that's what every mech game needs, come on. And it just looks like a great time. I have to give a caveat. This is something I just want to talk about that is related to games, but also developers, if you're listening, please, I've said this actually a few times before, hire a copywriter for your Steam page, because the writing on the Steam page here is actually terrible. And even though the trailer makes the game look cool, trying to sparse information from the page was way more difficult than I expected, because it's incredibly blunt, but also obscure at the same time. A lot of people still read what's on a Steam page, and if it's hard to sparse, it'll put a lot of people off, because I think they're like, oh, the translation on the game must be bad if the writing on the Steam page feels so stilted. That's just something I feel developers need to look at, but otherwise, looks like a great game. Excited to see how good it is when it comes out. The Caribou Trail by Unreliable Narrators. A World War I story-based adventure where the only goal is to survive and make it through the day. In the still trenches, free soldiers learn the harsh truth of war, reckless missions, digging trenches, collecting dog tags, and just trying to make it through the day. Because war's pretty difficult and not fun at all. Reminds me of Valiant Hearts, the World War I puzzle platformer that was from Ubisoft, I think, surprisingly. That title was really good. It just pulled on your heartstrings in an amazing way. Well, here we have a developer trying that again, but in a first-person sense, and there's not a lot of war games that are story-focused, like this one. And to see one explore the horrors of war head-on, it's a bit refreshing, and it really stood out to me, the title. Yes, the visuals aren't really that crisp or look that amazing, but if the writing is on point, and there's a good variety of gameplay here, then I can see this title being an amazing time. Or a depressing, horrifying time, depending on what they present to us. I'm going to bet on the horrifying, depressing part of it. But also, you could play this as a double feature with Amnesia the Bunker. Just pretend at the end of this game, you landed up in a bunker and there's a giant monster chasing you around. That'll pep up your step. LumenTale, Memories of Trey by Beehive Studios. Another indie Pokemon game, but without guns this time. Actually, it looks better than most of them, has a real style that reminds me of the DS Pokemon games, which I never played, but I always thought they looked visually good. I started at Red, Blue, and I ended at Silver, and then I skipped a bunch of years and picked up again at Y. And then I never picked up a Pokemon title again because they're fun, but kind of not my style, to be honest. I did play Temtem, though. Really enjoyed that game in early access. Never picked it up again. I wonder if it's any good now. So while LumenTale carries all the hallmarks of every Pokemon title and every indie Pokemon title ever, it does add some extra things I like. Like, battles can either be 1v1 all the way up to 4v4 in some truly epic showdowns with some really cool creatures that I think, design-wise, look great. Go out into the world and get ready to catch some Animon, and train yourself to become the very goodest Animon master. I had to change a few words there so I didn't get sued by Nintendo because I've heard they enjoy that. Honestly, the game looks good, although capturing your monsters looks a bit meh. It's just a little mini-game you do out in the open. Everything else here, I am pretty sure, should satisfy monster breeders all around. This looks like a great title, the visuals are fantastic, and if you love indie Pokemon, then here's something for you to get excited for. Luna Abyss by Quali Labs. One of my most anticipated games of the year, an FPS taking elements of Metroid Prime, Nier Automata, and a dash of Bioshock. What I really enjoy about the combat here is how incredibly fast-paced it is. You need to switch between weapons to break down enemies' colored shields and then take them down shot by shot. It's some really fun FPS action, and also the platform is actually fantastic as you explore this giant underground megastructure underneath the moon. Second megastructure of the day, called out. Really, really great game, incredibly fast-paced combat. There's a demo out that I highly recommend you try out. Once you get to the boss of the demo, you'll think to yourself, this is one of the best games I've ever played. It's so much action-packed fun. It'll just make you fist bump the air once you've beaten him. I cannot wait to try out the full title because that demo sold me completely. Another great list of titles to get excited for and count down the days to, if you're me. Which games are you interested or stand out for you? I'm just so excited to play Luna Abyss, Vultures, and MOTORSLICE. The free games I really got stuck in enjoying their demos. But that's it for the video. I hope you have a great day, enjoy some good gaming, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.